When you finish this chapter, you will be able to recognize the importance of public sector innovation, which is more important than most people realize. Understand the difference between public sector innovation and private sector. Understand how public sector collaborate with the private sector to innovate. Recognize the role of public governance and recognize public entrepreneurship and appreciate different type of innovation within public sector and understand what is public value. So why is public sector innovation important? Well, these are the reasons. In the OECD, which is a 38 Western market-driven countries combined to set policy for economic development. So OECD countries, the public sector is 40% of GDP. That means every $100 spent in the whole economy, 40% are spent in government-related or public-related. So the public sector in terms of economic size is really big. It's bigger than any individual company by far. And in these 38 countries, they hire 18% of the workforce. Well, 1 in 5 people in these 38 countries work for government. And so the public sector, the 3 most important factor that they impact innovation is, first, they decide policy. Second, they fund large-scale research projects. For example, internet. We all know that internet started in the US by Defense Department, by DARPA, in the 1960 and 70. And the original idea was, what if there's a nuclear war happened between US and Soviet Union at that time? If part of the US is bombarded with nuclear weapon, can network still exist, kind of self-healing and become very flexible? That was the original, the internet. So I mean, a lot of different network, but there's internet combine them. Each one kind of function independently. The global positioning system and the fusion. Fusion is the hopefully the next version of the nuclear power. So all these are very, very important, very, very expensive, and usually is the government can support this type of large-scale research. And of course, they buy innovative product and services. So the role of government in innovation, let's take a look. So government in the middle, so they interact with innovator, and they also regulate the policy, and they fund research and researcher, and they also plug into the public government's customer. That's all of us, right? We all use the public services like DMV or the whole this education system. We all are customers, okay? So the government are looking for these area, okay? So the public sector organization are involved with innovation. For example, the patent offices, they deal with complex problem usually beyond one university or one company can focus on large complex problem in innovation. They are also looking for creative solutions, which if you can see in government, they try not as effective as a private, but they also try to have a creative solutions. Okay, and they collaborative with public sector innovations. They try to connect innovation between government agencies. Okay, and and in you can see that there are other area that the government innovation is play an important role. So let's just have a clear definition of the public sector innovation. PSI is a process through which new idea, object, and practice are created, developed, or reinvented, and which are new for the unit of adoption. So this is for each public agency. These are what they want to do in terms of innovation. And also there are other definition, the dynamic process in which problem and challenge are defined, new and creative ideas are developed, and new solutions are selected and implemented. This is kind of similar to the private sector. So in the PSI, they are looking for three things, kind of similar to the private sector. They are novelty, something, of course, it has to be new. Implementation, they have to create something that's usable in order to provide value. And outcome, that means the innovation have to provide some kind of public value or goods in order to make the innovation make sense or fundable. Okay, so when people working for the government, they want to say, oh, we want to have innovation. They want to have something new, something doable, and something produce value. Let's take a quick look. I know there's a lot of text on the screen, but let's look at some of these problem that really is kind of societal problem, and usually government is the more appropriate entity to provide solution, provide innovation for this problem. For example, poverty. There's you can see that the dairy product producer can see which farmer can supply milk, so government can provide necessary items or goods to the poor community. Let's take a look at, for example, disaster. Right, the Japan in 2011, the earthquake. If you maybe if you are too young, look up the video. It was horrendous. Thousands of people died. So they used Twitter to analyze where is the need for people to get help. Okay, so take a look at this. If you are thinking about what kind of innovation government can do to solve real problems, so these are the good example. Okay, so digital government goes through a probably like 40, 50 years of process. It starts with pretty small, okay, and it is start with basic ideas. Okay, they start to use computer system. This is probably 1980s. They start to put mainframe or a smaller computer in their office. Then they move to digital records. That means a lot of our data is now digital. Now we take it for granted. At that time, all data, information are kept on paper in big file. Okay, and so they start to digitize the record. Okay, and they start to, and I think in the 90s they start to use a website. It is in beginning, the government only have a static website to provide basic information. Now we do a lot of services using the public entities' websites. Then they move to database, meaning not only the system store data, but also database can manage, can clean, can protect the data. Okay. Then they start to, this is probably in the early 2000, the online form, you can submit paper, you can look at information, the website become innovative. Then in the 2010, they start to use social media. We all know, for example, President Trump used Twitter as one of the primary way he communicate with his supporter. Okay, and now since about, I would say, 10 years ago, the military and government start to think about use big data and artificial intelligence to do a lot of automation to decide where to, who should they fund in terms of the where do they fund the in the 2010, I would say about 10 years ago, the government started to use big data and artificial intelligence to do some of the public sector work. For example, when I was, wow, that was must be 10 years ago, my student work on a project to use artificial intelligence to look at soldiers' social network like the Facebook posting and to predict if that soldier is mentally unstable. That was using the big data and AI to do prediction. So you can see the government kind of, although fall behind a little bit from the private sector, but they do move on to use all kind of technology to enhance government services.